Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to my YouTube channel. I am, of course, John Campea. This is
Kaori. Hi, everybody.
And we're here to talk about Riverdale Season 2, Episode 1. Now, look, I got on the Riverdale. You're the one who told me to watch this season of Riverdale. All right. So I got on the Riverdale train late last year. And
you got on it.
I mean, yeah, I did get on it, but it was after the first season was done, so I binge watched it. And I was torn. Because on one side, it is absolute teeny bopper nonsense. Because I get like 1 or 2 episodes in and they're already having big drama because, oh no, Archie and Veronica had 5 minutes in the closet. I'm like, oh my God, why am I watching this? But I was explaining to Kaori that at the same time, from a narrative structure point of view, it's actually a very sophisticated show.
Yeah.
What they do with their plots and their characters and their narrative progression is actually, once you get past that veneer of a teeny bopper CW show, it's actually quite sophisticated the way they do things. And I kind of got intrigued in it enough so that it made me watch the entire first season. So when Kaori gives me a call and she goes, hey, let's talk about Riverdale Season 2. I said, okay, let's at least try the first episode.
Yeah.
So here we are. So, Kaori, you just watched Riverdale Season 2, Episode 1.
Yep. So did you.
Your general thoughts. So did I. Your general thoughts.
Generally, for me, this episode was a little slow paced for the season premiere. I wanted to see more action and more development, but I get it. I mean, we're just kind of getting back into it. But I just wish that there was more like things happening. It was just a long lull of Andrew's recovering, and having dream sequences and introduction of Mark Consuelos as Hiram Lodge. And there wasn't much going on per se. It just felt like the next episode, not the season premiere. It
felt a little bit different than that to me, in the sense you're right. This was not a high octane, bang, we're starting season 2 with a big rocket, right? That's not what it was. But it really did feel like a setup, because you know some shows will have setup episodes. Yeah. This felt like a setup to the season, because what Riverdale did in season 1 was they did something I love when television shows do. Right off the bat, first episode, they set up, this is what this season's about, with the death of Jason and all that kind of stuff. And what I least interpreted here was they set up that the mystery this season is going to be about who shot Mr. Andrews, who shot Luke, and why did they shoot Mr. Andrews. And it seems like that was the setup. Now, they also just set up a couple other things. Yeah. What's the Jason's sister's name?
Cheryl Blossom.
Cheryl Blossom.
Amazing.
She has now...
Amazing.
She was already a little bit crazy last season. They made it official now. She is snapped. She is now full-blown psychopath.
They catapulted her to insanity.
Yes. And you know what? I gotta say, I loved the exchange between her and her mother. The classic thing in movies and television shows when the victim turns the table, because she was a victim of child abuse her whole life. When the victim, I get it, always hooked on these narrative hooks, when the victim turns the tables on their assailants, if you will, on the perpetrators, and they become, in a sense, they become the evil ones and make the perpetrators now the victims. And that scene between her and her mother, I gotta admit, I ate that scene up. Yeah,
Cheryl's awesome. I just wanted to go back a little bit because you mentioned that Jason Blossom, fresh out of the gates of season 1, we were like searching for who the killer was and we were intrigued by this.
Right.
The thing with this episode is no one died that makes me want to really, really know who the killer was as viciously as in season 1, you know?
Yeah.
And that's the issue I have. Even Miss Grundy made a comeback, and it ended up being just a cameo.
Is that the music teacher?
Yes.
Well, okay. Well, let's talk about that for a second. Yeah, she shows up in season 2 for 30 seconds
just to make out with a youngin,
and to show that she loves the young dick, guys. She digs the high school dick like a lot, and she croaks the first episode. You know what I thought at first when they first showed her? I thought, oh. I went through this whole progression in my head. I thought her ex, because remember she came out of an abusive relationship? Yeah. I thought her ex is stalking her, saw her with Mr. Andrews, assumed she was fooling around with Mr. Andrews, shot him. Now he's come back here, and that young blonde kid that left her house, I thought that kid was going to die, and that she was going to go outside and find his body on the street or something. But nope, that theory went completely out the window because the dude snuck in and killed her. And right now I am struggling to understand, and this is what a good show should do anyway, what's the connection between her and Mr. Andrews?
Yeah,
like,
completely.
What's the connection? Why would somebody want him dead and her dead? unless Archie was always the target. But then again, why didn't he kill Archie? He had the chance to kill Archie. So that opened up a whole big thing. What did you think, though, about the whole, they seem to be setting up now, granted, they probably started setting this up last season, but the Jughead with the Southside Serpents and him getting more integrated in that. There was the one line in tonight's show where the guy said to him, hey, jacket or not, you're a serpent.
Yeah.
So there was all, how do you think that's progressing?
I think it's a little cheesy for me, but I think that you kind of need that Southside Serpent thing going on. For me, it makes sense because no matter what, Jughead, that's his fate and that's his bloodline because his father is one of the big heads of the serpents.
Well, so he's a hero.
Yeah.
He's a hero to the serpents. I got a little bit of peanut stuck in my throat. He's a hero because he's doing jail time and refused to talk.
Yep.
So like to the rest of the serpents, he's a hero. That makes the son royalty and they're again, the peanuts. They're totally dedicated to looking after the kid, whether he likes it or not.
And I think that if Jughead plays his cards right, he can use that to his advantage to have them on his side.
Yeah. As somebody who's a big fan of Sons of Anarchy, one of my top 3 shows of all time, I do find the Southside Serpent angle a little cheesy.
It is, right?
Yeah, like a little bit cheesy. But there's potential there. There is potential there. You know, one of the scenes I really loved in the show, and I thought it was going to fall back into that high school drama 5-minute in the closet thing, was that whole thing back at Archie's house between Archie and Veronica.
In the shower?
Well, no,
that was kind of pointless.
Not the shower scene. I'm sure he didn't find it pointless. No, not the shower scene, but the scene afterwards where he gets angry, he's lashing out, and he's going to send her away. And I remember when we were watching it, she was about to walk out and she stops, and you're like, no, don't stop, don't turn around, say something. And I was thinking the same thing, but she turns around and it was beautiful what she said. She's like, no, she realized, no, you're lashing out because you're angry. And I know you're saying you want me to leave, but I know you need me to stay and I'm going to stay. And that scene to me, more than any other scene, marked what I think is the progressive difference between season 1 of Riverdale and season 2 so far. It seems like this season, just going by the first episode, seems a lot more mature.
It does.
It just seems like they're going, like, gone is the high school teeny bopper angst stuff. These are still high school students. And you know what? I love, too, that last scene where Archie's in his house. I'm thinking, if there was a 17-year-old kid, or forget that, there's an adult man who's got a father who was shot. And if my dad was shot, I would feel helpless. And all I would know how to do is to sit in his foyer with a baseball bat. And they did that, and I thought that was beautiful.
Oh, speaking of visually, I think they really upped their game in terms of how things looked in terms of effects.
They wanted to go.
You can tell, right?
Yeah, I feel like I don't know if they did or not, I have to check on this. I feel like they brought in new crews of cinematographers,
I really liked
whatever.
it.
Visually, I thought the shots were all composed way better. They, not just on the outdoor scenery shots, but even indoors when they were framing characters, I just thought the framing was a lot better.
Cheryl looks like the red and the white. She looks amazing.
Yeah, from an artistic design too, the way they use color or lack of color here and there and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that was good. We've got Veronica's dad shows back up.
Yes, and that's what I love is that, you know, people my age get to see all these actors come back again, like Luke Perry, you know?
Molly Ringwald.
So it's like, I want to watch this. So it's great.
And he's a total douchebag. So he's the total douchebag that we thought he would be. First shows up. So I don't know if he's supposed to be some kind of godfather figure, but we'll see that. Veronica's mom, I can't remember the character's name, but Veronica's mom kind of becoming more and more vile.
Well, I mean, her daughter's becoming more vile too, in some way, right?
And so, she's becoming sharper. She's got a sharper tongue, and it was a little bit out of line to accuse the mom of maybe setting up the hit. Yeah. But you could kind of see where she's coming from at the same time. So there's a lot of that drama going on. But overall, I think you're right. It wasn't the shot out of the cannon of a first episode that I think a lot of people were looking forward to. But I appreciated it because I felt like it very clearly set up our characters, our path, and our main narrative for what's going to be season 2. And that just sets up for what can come in episode 2 and episode 3 and episode 4. And who knows? Maybe episode 2, 3, and 4 will be boring as hell and I'll abandon the show. I don't know. But I feel like they were just setting everything up because this wasn't the series premiere. It's season 2. Yeah. So maybe that's where we're going. So you got any predictions about what we're going to see in episode 2?
I feel like, not specifically episode 2, but I do feel that we might find out who the assailant was sooner than
later. So you don't think this is going to be a season-long mystery?
You think it should be. Okay. Because I don't feel as attached to it as I did in season 1.
Like with what the hell happened to this Jason kid? Yeah.
Right. Because especially since Andrew survived, you know?
Yes, he did live.
Yeah.
Although the music teacher didn't.
Yeah, but I mean,
so
we forgot about her completely, right?
Totally forgot about her till she showed up and making out with young high school dudes again and whatever.
Well, do you have any predictions?
I think we are going to see Archie's dad.
Yeah.
I think Archie's dad is going to come back. I think Archie himself, sorry, not Archie's dad, I'm sorry, Jughead. I think Jughead's dad.
He did come back.
I think Jughead's dad is going to return. I know they keep saying he's going to be going away for a long time, all this kind of stuff. I got a feeling something's going to happen and he's going to return. And I think there's going to be holy hell to pay when he does. Because I've got a feeling Jughead himself is going to get into trouble.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
Then Dad's going to come out of prison and unleash a lot of hell on
There's
people.
There's going to be a lot of problems between Jughead and Betty for sure.
Think so?
I think so.
I hope not.
And the episode, the final episode of last season, we had Archie Andrews kind of wishing he was with Betty. Do you remember that? And it's funny because he called her out of everybody else when this happened.
Right.
So there's going to be some twists and teen angst.
But it's Archie and Betty and Veronica. So there's, and remember, and Betty too, in some ways that made sense to me because Betty is his lifelong friend. Mm-hmm. Like Veronica's been around for a year.
Yeah.
Betty has been there forever. And so I think there's always going to be a little bit of that.
Always.
So I think at some point, look, here's a long-term prediction. If Riverdale gets to season 4 or 5 or 6, we're going to see some swapping going on.
Oh, for sure.
At some point, Jughead is going to be dating Veronica, and Archie will be dating Betty, and the what's the gay kid's name again?
Kevin Keller.
He's going to be dating Archie's dad.
Reggie will they be dating somebody?
Yeah. So I mean, oh yeah, we totally forgot. There's a new Reggie.
A new Reggie.
They just totally slipped in a new Reggie, and it's like hopefully nobody will notice. But it's like,
funny.
Oh my god, he's like totally different. Anyway, okay, well that will do it for us, guys, for our thoughts on Riverdale Season 2, Episode 1. What did you think of it? Jump down to the comments section and leave your thoughts. I want to thank Kaori for being here. Kaori, where can people find you online?
You can find me everywhere on social media as well as YouTube at KAORIOUS. And thank you, John, for doing this.
Yeah, well, thank you for being here. You guys can follow me on Facebook and on Twitter simply at John Campea. While you're here, guys, take a second, click on that subscribe button, become a subscriber to my YouTube channel. That'll do it for us for now, guys. Thanks a lot for joining us. And until next time, bye-bye.